What it is, I don't know. But what it does, this I've heard rumors of. I have spoken.
Welcome to Live Action Star Wars. I'm Ralph.
I'm James.
And today we are discussing Season 1 of The Mandalorian.
Yeah, the whole thing, because it's already been covered. Everyone's already had their takes. So we're just going to do a relatively brief overview of our thoughts and opinions on the entire first season.
Right. And then first things first, as far as this show is concerned, this is the first time I've come on without a full beard. And I just want to let everybody know, just like your favorite characters, Obi-Wan Kenobi and Luke Skywalker, sometimes they have beards, sometimes they don't. Everything is okay. Yeah. It just gets to a point where I can't keep it in the shape I want to keep it in. It goes everywhere. Like
it happens to all of us.
And I'm just wipe the slate clean. In 2 more episodes, it should be back to a much
full
bigger.
beard.
This is a week.
Ralph beard. Wow.
Yeah, this is a week you're looking at. So
I haven't been clean shaven in about 10 years. I'm afraid that if I do, I will look about 12.
Right. I feel like I look younger. I don't know.
It's weird when you first jumped onto the call, I was like, oh wow, there's a big difference. But now I'm just like, yeah, it's Ralph.
Yeah. Also, we've been fooling around for the last 15 minutes instead of a chat.
No, we're professionals.
It's not like it took you 3 minutes.
No, of course.
So yeah, we didn't want to go through every single episode of The Mandalorian season 1, even though it's only 8. I figured let the past die. Move forward. But we definitely want to have a presence on our show before we jump into season 3 or Book of Boba Fett, as you mentioned last week. So, we did a rewatch.
Yeah, I finished it. I finished the last 2 episodes this afternoon, just before we jumped on this, about 20 minutes before we started recording.
And I have definitely seen the last 3 episodes more than once.
Oh yeah, me too. This is, I think this is the 3rd time through the entire season for me.
I didn't make it through the season.
Did you know?
This time around. But I mean, I know what's going on. There was some points where I sort of hit the plus 10 seconds during some action scenes.
I definitely was like hanging laundry during a couple of episodes.
But the thing is here, okay. I didn't want to get into this till the end, but for me, it's a difficult rewatch.
Interesting.
And the reason is because here's the thing with the show. We're not here to bitch and complain and be negative. But we've always said that there's room for criticism.
Yeah.
And I feel like
criticism.
Yes, I feel like one of the things that I have an issue with, and one of the reasons why we don't cover the animated series, is that I don't find them particularly compelling. The Bad Batch, I'm really trying to latch onto the Bad Batch really bad. Watching it every week. The finale, which we haven't seen yet, but will have been out by the time this airs.
Yeah.
I want to like it really bad, but one of the things for me when it comes to these shows is like the Clone Wars and stuff, the stories feel a little thin to me. They're not like the grandest stories, and then they put a bunch of action in them, which is fine. But I feel like that kind of came over to The Mandalorian, but with season 1.
So I have a theory.
There's a focus that I have an issue with.
I have a theory as to why I enjoy the animated series more than you, and it's just simply because I've been reading Star Wars books and comics throughout. Like before we had movies and TV shows every week, I was reading a new issue of a Star Wars comic at least every month for the last 30 years. Right. So I guess I'm just a bit more trained to be used to. This is just a small little snippet. There's not much really here. Like some of those Dark Horse issues, like back in the early 2000s and stuff, even like pre-Clone Wars stuff, there'd be nothing. It'd be like Coyote Mundi's walking around the desert. Cool.
Yeah.
Like there's not much to it.
Also, with me, I didn't watch Clone Wars as it came out.
No, I didn't.
So in order to watch the Clone Wars, you're looking at what, 7 seasons?
Yeah.
It's a pretty big hill to climb. Luckily, with the Bad Batch, I'm able to start at the beginning and watch it each week.
Yeah. You enjoyed Rebels more, didn't you?
I really liked Rebels.
I just finished a rewatch of it. I love it.
I'm trying to pinpoint it why I like Rebels so much and not so much Bad Batch and Clone Wars. And it has nothing to do with the time periods. I know that you could just be like, oh, yeah, Rebels is closer to Star Wars.
OG, yeah.
But there's something in Rebels where I feel like the characters have interesting backstories, and they all have a unique take on the galaxy.
Yeah.
The Mandalorian centers around a character that I feel like his backstory isn't terribly interesting.
No, and we get so little of it.
Yeah.
Because there isn't much there.
The idea of him being part of this sort of religion and being really orthodox and really hardcore about it. It's great when that belief system starts falling apart. That's interesting. Yeah. And that's focused more in season 2 than season 1.
So that's what I was going to say is in season 1, where we're introduced to the Mandalorian and it's very quickly established. And I think in the second, it is in the second or third episode. It's in the Sin, chapter 3.
When second episode might be a low point for me.
Oh, interesting. We'll get into that because that's interesting to me. But in the third episode, when the armorer is saying, like, have you ever taken your helmet off in front of another? It's at that point I'm like, I think everyone was just like, okay, so they're changing stuff because Mandalorians take their helmets off all the time in the lore that we've seen throughout, like Clone Wars and other things. And so they were changing things up, and I think everyone was just sort of accepting that, okay, they're doing this for the show. And then we get some Death Watch characters pop up even in that episode, and we get some name drops for characters like the Vizsla, Clan Vizsla, and things like that. And it's like, okay, these are ties to the animated series. Dave Filoni's involved, obviously, so you're going to get those. But it really hammers the Mandalorians as this, as you said, orthodox religion. As they say at the end of the season, it's a creed. And in season 1, that's all we get of it. So, and it's only in season 2 and going forwards that we sort of see that, oh no, this is just sect. This is like, this is the orthodox, like super hardcore sect that are probably separated quite a lot from mainstream Mandalorians.
And
so that
I like that aspect.
I do.
I like that because we discussed in the past, like different sects of Jedi.
Yeah.
Like those who are part of the living force, like your Qui-Gons who believe that the force is something made from nature, whereas other people like Obi-Wan might think of it as a mystical energy field, like a spirit or presence, and they might not be both right or wrong. But
it's kind of Jedi
nice
sort of all work together because they're the Jedi. Like they work together and they are willing to bring that all in and be like, hey, you believe this, I believe this, but we all believe in this sort of thing.
Right.
Whereas Mandalorians being Mandalorians, it feels like okay, you're one of those guys.
Yeah.
But that does, like, going back to Mando Din Djarin, as we know from the end of season 1. We see a little bit of his backstory. The only real backstory that we get is the flashback scenes that there's a couple earlier on, and then we get the full scene play out in the last episode. And he's where we see he's a foundling. He's rescued during the Clone Wars. Do you think he's from Naboo?
I don't know.
Because it, like, architecture-wise, it looks a lot like Naboo. I know that that's been a theory that's been bandied around quite a lot. I really like it. I think it's cool. It's a neat little thing. It doesn't matter, which is quite nice. But it's a nice way of sort of tying the galaxy together, but without shoving it down your throats.
I can't tell you this one thing. I have an issue with one of my major. I keep coming back to the Bad Batch. One of my main issues with the Bad Batch is every episode seems to have some sort of connection to something that we knew before, whether it be Moochie the Rancor, whether it being Hera,
Fennec.
Syndulla.
Yeah, Fennec Shand. Even if this latest episode, as we're recording this, Scorch, the Republic Commando, is from the old Republic Commando video game. Like, so he's not named in the episode, but his markings and everything on his armor he is that trooper. Right.
But there's this thing where it just makes the universe or the galaxy so small that drives me a little bit nuts.
Yeah. You can do it so like to a level, it's lovely because it's like, connections and stuff. But then when it's all the time, it's like, oh, what's this week's connection?
Right.
Yeah.
And the thing that I like about The Mandalorian, it doesn't do that as much.
Especially not in this first season.
Yeah, season 2, we get 2 huge major character. One of them being in episode 4, I think, of this show. Or 5. The
5.
We get a glimpse of Boba Fett. But then Boba Fett and Luke Skywalker in season 2 is like,
and Ahsoka.
It really makes the world or the universe small, which a little bit drives me nuts. But I like in this, in season 1, it does what I've always wanted Star Wars to do, which is show me the other side of the galaxy.
Yeah.
That isn't as important as the Skywalker saga.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it does it great. I think my only issues would be things like the eye droid that comes out at Pershing. That's fine. Yeah. That droid should exist, but it like literally says the exact same things. Like it's the same recording.
Line. Yeah.
And then it's like, okay, maybe that's a greeting.
Yeah, it could be a state your name and business.
Like my Siri says the same stuff as your Siri.
Yeah.
As you know, so I think that's fine. But it was just like kind of
you get away with it with the droid.
Exactly. Yeah.
So I like in the same way, like the connections that we have in this series are like species that turn up.
Right.
So like we see, I don't know, like the Kowakian monkey lizards being grilled and stuff like that. Or for the first time in the Disney era, we see like Twi'leks pop up.
Right.
Like, because I mean, we do in Solo. I think we do in Solo. So that would be just before this. But like, there's a lot. Solo? I think so. I think in Emphas Nest's gang, I think there's a Twi'lek. Or it might be in Saw Gerrera's hideout. I think there is a Twi'lek kicking around.
Like, they're playing the
Jarek, but like, yeah,
I love it.
Yeah, it's cool. But yeah, so we get species like that. There's some Zabraks pop up, but I mean, these are all species that have existed in the Star Wars universe, but haven't been shown in any of the movies because they've focused on new creatures, which I get. Right. You got new people coming in; they want to show off new creatures, expand the galaxy a little bit. But this is cool because we know that these species are around a lot.
This is probably Favreau.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
This is probably Favreau. I think we got a Rodian, and we got a Rodian in Solo, but for the most part, we didn't see any like Ithorians or Rodians or anything else like throughout the
ones that
trilogy.
We grew up playing with the toys of, so we think that they're everywhere. When in actual fact, they're only seen like in 1 or 2 scenes.
Right. So like Trandoshans and stuff, like we get a lot of that. So I feel like that is Favreau. If watching the Disney Gallery, which I'm sure we'll get to on this show, watching the Disney Gallery, it's kind of clear that Favreau knows the original trilogy.
Yes.
And is basing...
He knows the film side of it. Yeah, he knows the films. Yeah. He's like, not going to go deep lore.
Like, he remembers as a kid the ice cream maker.
Yeah.
And he in the Disney Gallery, he calls it the ice cream maker.
Absolutely.
Like he doesn't have some crazy name for it. Have you heard about why it's called what it's called?
Cantona. Yeah. No, what's the background behind that?
Okay, so here's the story. There is a viral video online where there's a little kid sitting in the car seat in the back seat, and some kid brain thing is happening to this kid where they're going to get ice cream.
Mm-hmm.
And the mom say, we're going to go get ice cream. And the little girl says, Camptono?
Okay.
We're getting ice cream. And she says, Camptono?
Yeah.
Her brain's not
misheard it. Yeah.
forming the word. And so they took that, which was her translation of ice cream, and made it the
name for that type of container.
The ice cream container. When I watched episode 1, I was completely surprised that it was directed by Dave Filoni. I, for some reason, this whole time thought that Jon Favreau directed the first episode.
Are you not thinking of season 2? I think season 2.
Season 1?
Yeah, you're not right. Season 1, episode 1 is directed by Dave Filoni. Yeah, I had the same.
Did something happen?
No, I remember now. Like, because that's the thing. Favreau doesn't direct anything in season 1.
He does the prison episode. I thought the one with
that's
Bill Burr.
Filoni as well. Oh no, that's Rick Famuyiwa.
The one with Bill Burr.
Yeah, that's Rick. Okay. Yeah, I don't think Favreau directed anything this season. I think he was busy like doing other things. I mean, I don't know, but
I swear to God, I swear that he directed it, and somewhere between here and now, some guild stepped in and said, "Well, actually, he directed more of it than like maybe they co-directed it." And it's weird because I could have swore Favreau directed the first one.
He directed The Marshal. He directed the first episode of season 2.
That's so weird.
Yeah, like I mean, hand on heart, I would have said the same as you. That's bizarre.
Yeah, he definitely wouldn't have episode of the Orville. Did you see the Orville?
No, I never did.
McFarlane shows. Hey, listen,
everyone says it's
Star
great.
Trek dude. Yeah. I'm not a Star Trek dude, and I think the Orville cracked the code for me enjoying Star Trek.
Interesting,
because the people talk like people instead of like.
But it's it's not like Naval. Heavy. Seth, what's his name? Is it?
There's not a lot of jokes in it.
Okay, cool.
10% of the show is jokes, but there's like hardcore. There's like some pretty heavy themes in it.
Cool. Maybe I'll check it out.
I can't recommend it enough.
I don't think it's on any streaming services over here, so I'd have to find it somewhere. I've got a VPN. I'm sure I can figure it out.
Okay, here's a note I took. Just Hulu I think has it. Yeah, Hulu over there.
No, we don't have Hulu.
Okay. Maybe it might show up on your version of Disney Plus. What is it called? Disney Plus Star?
Well, we've got Star as like another channel on there. Yeah.
Yeah, it'll probably show up on there because it's a Fox show.
Okay, probably then.
Okay, there's one shot in episode 2 where the blurg is pulling the sled at night and it's dark and they just have like the little lights on it. And it reminded me of the movie Pitch Black. Have you seen Pitch Black?
I have, yeah.
Literally the only reason I'm bringing this up is because I love the fact that the guys who wrote Pitch Black also wrote Ewoks Battle for Endor.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So that's it. Just, now you know. I probably could have put that down here in the little fun fact area, but
so are we saying that Pitch Black is in the Star Wars universe?
I mean, it could be.
I mean, I don't think there's much that would contradict it, is there?
Could you imagine plopping Riddick in the middle of Attack of the Clones?
That'd be amazing. He's just in the Geonosian arena.
Just slicing up dudes left and right.
That'd be great. So the structure of this season is fascinating to me because it very much is like it's 3 acts. You got the first 3 episodes, which are, I mean, the second episode it's sort of a side story, but it's all telling one thing, right. And then you've got 3 episodes in the middle there that are basically episode of the week, like job of the week, and then 2 episodes at the end,
which are fine. I don't mind the job of the week, but I feel like I would have liked these 3 episodes sort of flipped around.
Yeah, I get that.
The Bryce Dallas Howard episode, Sanctuary, I would have liked to seen last of those three, because he seems really tired of it, and he seems ready to give up and
with the
settle
bounty
down.
hunter at the end, like
Yeah.
taking the shot at him, it's almost like a okay, right, well, they're gonna keep on coming. We've just got to do this. And with the gunslinger episode, like with it starting in the space battle, that could have come after the sin. Just flip those two, or maybe like go gunslinger, prisoner, sanctuary.
Coming up with a machete order for these episodes.
Yeah. But then also you get the option of not having him have to fly back to pick up Cara Dune. Like he could just already be there and just be like, right, let's go.
You have any interest in talking about Cara Dune?
Not really. Let's just not. I have my opinions.
I can tell you this, like
there was a shot in I think it's episode I think it is in the finale where the Death Troopers come into the cantina where she's holed up, and I'm like, in hindsight that would have been a great place for the character to have a heroic sacrifice, and then we wouldn't have had to worry about her anymore.
She was on a show called American Gladiators.
Mm-hmm.
It was a reboot. Hulk Hogan was the host and Layla Ali and stuff.
Yeah,
and
we had gladiators.
Yeah. We got that show, and it was called International Gladiators.
Oh wow!
But this was like a 2010 reboot.
Okay, yeah.
And she played a character called Crush.
Right.
And I absolutely fell in love with her and have followed her career, and then am extremely heartbroken.
Grace. What a fool from Grace.
Extremely heartbroken. I mean, you got a good thing going. When they give you another chance, don't double down. Just,
exactly that.
When everybody loves you, don't divide everybody. Okay. It makes me sad because I was really looking forward to the Rangers show.
Yeah, I was. I thought there was a lot of potential there.
I feel like she's definitely hired because of her physical ability. She was an MMA fighter.
Well, she wasn't.
If you've seen.
Yeah, she was like, there was no one else for that role. It wasn't a role that they wrote. They wrote that for her.
Right. And if you've seen the movie Haywire, Steven Soderbergh directed a movie with her in it, Haywire, and she's so badass. And I'm like, if you get a show just centered around her doing this stuff, it's going to be awesome. Like acting aside, it's going to be a really fun action show. And so it's kind of a bummer.
She's a twat.
Misguided. I'm going to say misguided.
There you go. I mean, the way I justified it to people like last year when everything was going on with her, it's like she used to get punched in the head for a living.
Right.
Like sometimes that's going to have lingering effects.
Right. It's tough. It's tough when you're a fan of somebody for so long and then they're just like, I mean, I hope she goes and does well, and I hope she can be happy or whatever. Good. Episode 2, I mentioned I had a little bit of issues with. This sort of reminds me of a Bad Batch type of thing.
Yeah, 100%.
And I'm not, you know me, like I'm the faster, more intense guy. I don't need character stuff. I just want to have a fun Star Wars adventure.
Yeah.
Which this is, but now we're in television territory where you have time. You have more than 2 hours to tell a story where you can get into character stuff. And this episode feels like a Bad Batch where something happens. They're on a planet. They got to do this mission to get the thing.
It's a fetch quest.
Everything could be reset to how it was at the beginning.
Yeah, it's a side quest. It's 100%.
Right. And one of the things that, and I think is kind of bugs me about it, is this is episode 2. You set up Baby Yoda, Grogu.
Yeah.
That was the big ending. The big climax of episode 1 was, okay, this is the story we're going to tell.
Yeah.
This Mandalorian, who's this orthodox Mandalorian, going against what he's supposed to do to take care of this child. And it just, this episode's, he just is fighting Jawas, and then there's a Mudhorn, and then the baby's just chilling. Yeah. you don't get a lot of time with him like coming to terms with what he did, and it's kind of hard because he's a maskless, or he's got a faceless thing, and he has no one to bounce off of.
Yeah, I mean, we get some Kawil in this episode, which
right.
I mean, Nick Nolte is great in this show. I really loved Ugnaughts.
He's not. He's a fully fleshed out character.
Yeah.
I know it's Nick Nolte. It looks like Nick Nolte and sounds like him, but it's not. The performance is so perfect, both from the actor and the voice work combined. It's so perfect, and I feel like he's the one character in season 1 that really gets a nice arc, and you kind of understand his story and motivation a little bit more.
Yeah, definitely. Like, even other like big guest stars that are in the show, so like Werner Herzog and Carl Weathers. Like, Werner Herzog is just Werner Herzog,
right?
And God bless him for it, because it's amazing. I love, like, he's got the most quotable lines in the season for me. But Carl Weathers, again, love him. But he's never Grief Karga. He's always Carl Weathers in Star Wars.
Right.
Which I don't mind, because it's fun. But
yeah, that's like the Tobias Beckett of it all.
Yeah, definitely. Whereas Nick Nolte as Kawil, and I don't think it is just where he's playing a creature as opposed to a human. He does just become that character.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And I just, it's one of those things where this is the second episode. This is the repercussions of the big ending of episode 1.
Yeah.
I was kind of hoping for more of a intimate thing, more of a him being introspective.
Yeah.
How do you do that?
He's got the protection of the kid already, when it's like, at this point, you're still willing to, you're still trying to give him over as your bounty.
Mm-hmm.
So it's almost like he's being too protective.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is interesting. I think it's a great episode. It's in the second episode that you go, oh, this is Favreau and Filoni playing with their action figures.
Right, especially their sandcrawler.
Yeah, they've got a sandcrawler. They've got that one toy. They've got the one big vehicle, and they've got a Boba Fett, and they've got a bunch of Jawas. They're like, what can we do with this? They've probably got an animal creature from a different playset completely, but they've just got he's gonna fight him. Right. And that's what they do. And that's what this entire season, I think more so than season 2, this season and those middle episodes, all of these episodes that don't feel like they're the plot heavy episodes, they're the side episodes. They are very much a let's play with toys.
Right. My main issue with
that's not a criticism season for me.
Yeah, my main issue with this season is there's no main villain that's constantly pushing the story forward. Season 2, we get Moff Gideon.
Yeah,
he shows up at the end of the season. Werner Herzog, who I'm just going to call him that.
Yeah.
He should be hiring bounty hunters left and right.
We should see him doing it. We should have a constant threat of.
Yeah.
I agree.
And we don't get that. So when he leaves, when he's like, oh, I guess it's time to leave this planet. Why? Yeah. Why is he leaving? Why not just hide on a planet forever?
Yeah.
He could hide with the Jawas in the sandcrawler, whatever he needs to do. But there's not that sort of ticking clock. We know that this is bad. We know what he did by not giving the bounty is bad. It goes against his religion. It goes against the laws of the criminal underworld.
Yeah, it
should be.
He's been blacklisted.
You see John Wick.
Yeah.
John Wick 2. John Wick 2.
Yeah.
Where every single bounty hunter on the planet is after John Wick, and it's like, oh man.
But we almost need the Empire Strikes Back scene of Werner Herzog, essentially on the bridge, but even in that cantina, hiring a bunch, and we just get a nice panning shot of a bunch of different bounty hunters. Hell, throw Dengar in there, have some cameos in that scene if you want to, so that we know that they're out there. And And so yeah, there's that constant threat because we do get a lot of like bounty hunters and people go, oh, you're wanted, or we've heard about this problem that you caused, but just almost being able to put a more of a face to it.
And all of any issues that I have for season 1, I feel like have been fixed in season 2.
Yep, I'd agree with that.
They had a goal. There was, Mandalorian is now trying to find a Jedi, and we have Moff Gideon on his trail. So there's a reason, there's a flow to the story.
There is more of a threat to it.
This one feels like between chapter 1 and chapter 8, or maybe even chapter 7.
7, yeah.
Anything could be mixed and matched.
Yeah. I think we go. I mean, really, you can, if you wanted to, you could go 1, 3, 7, 8 if you wanted to just get the story of it. If you were desperate to watch season 2, but you really didn't want to watch all of season 1, you can do half of it and you get the whole story.
You would watch the prison episode just to get introduced to
context.
Mayfeld.
Yeah.
A character that I was like, have you heard anything about Bill Burr?
Yeah, and how
inclusion?
Like how he was trashing Star Wars, but then they were like,
he hates Star Wars.
Yeah,
and he's buddies with Favreau, and so Favreau forced him to be in it.
Yeah,
and he's great. He's okay, I think, in season 1. In season 2, he's phenomenal.
It's amazing. That might be the most rewatchable episode of season 2.
Yeah, that made me be like, oh, I think I would want a Black Series Mayfeld.
Yeah, definitely, I'd agree with that. And it's a cool character design, even like with the shoulder cannon and things like that. It's cool. And I'm not a massive Bill Burr fan. Like, I don't hate him in the way that some people do, but his it's like, okay, that's Bill Burr, cool. But like this episode is one that I know for a lot of people it's the least favorite of the season. Even before the stuff with her happened, I think Sanctuary was my least favorite.
I feel if you flip-flop those two, I feel like you might like them a little bit more.
Probably, but like I know, like The Prisoner, I rewatched it yesterday, and I was like, I'm into this, and I realized what it was. Have you ever messed with much like RPGs, like D&D or any of the Star Wars ones over the years?
Yeah,
here and there. So that episode in particular, but the season kind of on a whole, it feels like an RPG one shot. It feels like they're getting the crew together. We've got a job to do. There's going to be this complication. There's going to be that complication. It feels like playing a one shot in the Edge of the Empire, RPG system. And it's for that reason, I'm like, I like this. I really like this. I had fun with it.
Yeah. What are your thoughts on the 3 X-Wing pilots?
Well, the directors.
Yeah. Kind of fun. I mean, it's fun.
It's fun. I don't have a problem with it.
As fans of Star Wars and knowing like Dave Filoni, it is a little jarring because I'm like, oh, it's just Dave Filoni.
And then at that point you go, oh, okay, so that's Deborah Chow and Rick Famuyiwa.
Right. What's fun is that the X-Wings they're in were set pieces being built for Galaxy's Edge.
Okay, it's those ones.
So they were building them up at ILM or whatever. They were fabricating them for the parks. And so they were able to use those to shoot the show.
That's cool.
And so I guess now those are sitting in Galaxy's Edge in Anaheim, I believe. That's awesome. So that's kind of fun.
And yeah, Dave Filoni's character, of course, he's going to have a wolf in the name because it's Filoni. Trapper Wolf. Yeah.
Did they say his name?
No, I think they might in season 2. They call him like Wolf or something in season 2.
Yeah,
but
that cracks me up. Like when people like get mad at names, but it's like they're never said.
Yeah, exactly. And also, like, I don't think there's an action figure of Dave Filoni yet.
It's coming.
It's bound to. Yeah,
it's coming. Let him.
Yeah, absolutely.
I like Baron Papanoida. He's one of my favorite dudes.
Great. Yeah.
Revenge of the Sith.
Yeah.
Like, it's fine. It's fine.
Yeah.
And I guess I think according to the Disney Gallery, I think that's where I heard the thing about the.
I think you're right. Like when you started explaining it, I was like, I think I have heard this.
It sounded like the director of that episode forced
Rick,
Filoni to do the role.
That was Rick. Yes, I believe that was the case. And then in season 2, because Filoni has the most lines of the three. The others basically just like report in and they're just like, yep, okay, copy.
Right.
Whereas he has dialogue, whereas in season 2 it's given to an actual actor who is great.
Yeah.
I can't remember his name, but he's in Kim's Convenience. He's really good.
The,
but yeah, that episode has the most, like, looking at the cast list here, it has the most guest stars for sure.
Right.
So obviously you got Bill Burr, but Clancy Brown, Rick Ayoade, Matt Lanter, even, who was the voice of Anakin in all of the Clone Wars. He's the New Republic soldier. Yeah. Yeah.
The thing about the show is season 1 feels like a proof of concept as far as like the volume and creating and how to do this stuff, the
different
virtual
sets,
background and stuff,
all the stuff that it can do. Yeah.
So it kind of feels like they spent more time on the technological side than the story side. I feel like once they locked that
a grand Star Wars tradition,
right? And then with season 2, I feel like, okay, we can do this. Let's focus up on story.
Yeah. And watching through season 1 again, it's like they're planting seeds, and like they've got what season 2 is going to be, I think, mostly like already in the can. Like they know the beats of season 2. Right. So they're teasing some stuff out, but it's not like they had to go, oh, we've got a second season, what are we going to do now? It's like they knew what was coming. But yeah, I feel like it's not just a tech test for Star Wars, but just for the volume and for everything that they can do with it going forward. Because they've got like 3 built now, I think. They've got the bigger one still in California. They've got one, I believe they built one here in London. And I think, have they got one down in Australia or something?
I don't know.
I think I heard that they were building them everywhere because, especially last year when they couldn't be doing much traveling for shooting things, I think they were just like, we've got the technology, we can kind of make anywhere now. Just
want to like start pumping out these shows.
Yeah,
like just
absolutely.
Go.
And
like,
I mean, with what 3 of them are in production or in pre-production already for Star Wars alone, it's like, yeah. Music. You always bring up music, and it's always good. What do you think of Ludwig Göransson's score for The Mandalorian?
When I first watched the first episode on my phone, because I was at work.
Okay.
Third shift, and I knew that I would have to wait until the evening to watch it with my wife. I had, like, during a break, I watched like the first like 10 minutes of it, and I loved it. And I'll tell you why, because I loved it immediately. Was it screamed different Star Wars? Yes, still and Star Wars, but not the orchestral John Williams that we know and love. Yeah, right. I've always wanted to know what goes on beyond Jedi, Empire, Sith, Rebellion. I always wanted to know that guy in the cantina. Yeah. Where's he going next? Yeah. And by hiring Ludwig Göransson and having him do his thing, really immediately like says this is not regular. This is not your daddy Star Wars. Yeah, that's it. It doesn't have to sound a certain way. No. There could be familiar things, but it just screamed new and different. And I'm totally fine with it. It's funny, like Rogue One, Giacchino did the score to that. Yep. And Rogue One is a great movie, and it's probably one of the most important films in the Disney era because it's like, listen, we've seen plenty of Star Wars. Mm-hmm. We all know it starts with a crawl. We all know it has John Williams music. We all know there are certain constants. Yeah. So this was like, okay, we're going to ease you into new Star Wars by having a new composer, by having it not be a lockdown camera, have it mostly be handheld camera. We're not going to do the crawl. We're going to just really sort of jumble things up enough. We're going to have chyrons on the bottom of the screen that tell you what the planet's called. Yeah, where we are. That was never done. We're going to have flashbacks. So Rogue One was this huge experiment where it's like eased us into different Star Wars, and everybody loved it. Mandalorian's like, okay, good. We can get away with not having John Williams. We can get away with not having opening crawls. And it's really, really nice to just see something fresh and completely different. Like Ludwig Göransson's music is the complete opposite of John Williams. But what's great is it still has the emotional punch you need. It has the adventurous music that
it sets up like key themes for everyone. Everyone has their music.
It's terrific. I got the Mondo set.
I want it so much, but it's pricey.
It is,
but it's amazing. Were you particularly familiar with his stuff before? Like either
but mostly through
film scores,
just Creed. Starting with Creed, and he did the score for Creed. Absolutely love the score to Creed. He nailed, I don't know if it's his style, but he nailed that Bill Conti feel. Even though it's modern, it still has that feel of the 70s. And then Black Panther, which he won an Academy Award for, which makes me happy. Fantastic. And there's a bit in episode 1 when the Ugnaught Quill is riding the blurg with Mando on the ridge, like on the canyon rim. Straight up sounds like a Creed montage. And I love it. I love it so much. It's so good.
He does the stuff, I can't place exactly where it is in this, but he uses like a lot of the talking drum sounds that he used in Black Panther, and he also, like, I think he started using that on Because the Internet, the Childish Gambino album. I think that's where he first used it. He might have used some on Camp, but it was through Childish Gambino that I first became a fan of Ludwig's production and his musical talents.
Has he been producing his from the beginning?
Since, I believe, he produced on the Cul-de-sac mixtape, which came out before the first, like the debut album. So I think basically, I think they met. I think they met on Community because he was the composer for Community.
Really?
Yeah, he did Community and he did New Girl as well. Like they were his big breakouts. They were his paychecks essentially. And I believe that Donald and Ludwig met on Community and then were working together when Donald was doing Childish Gambino and all the way through. And now I don't think he's full-time with him now, but he did do some stuff at least on the last album from last year.
And I believe he was Ryan Coogler's dorm mate.
Yeah, like the three of them are quite close. Yeah, like they're all good friends.
Yeah, I have to check out what he did before Creed because I've just literally been following him since Creed, and I thought Creed was fantastic.
That's great.
And then, but yeah, his music for this, it's great. Yeah, I got the 8 album set. If you guys haven't checked, go to our Instagram. I posted all the album covers from that set.
That's
the
so
Mandalorian Mondo set, the Paul Mann art.
Yeah.
For each episode. Oh, it's so good. They look beautiful. Like I want all that art on a lunchbox. I want a Mando lunchbox with all that art on it with the Mandalorian logo. I absolutely love the music, dude. And
I've had the pleasure of drinking with Ludwig I think it was the first Gambino UK show, and just afterwards it was a tiny little venue, like not much bigger than the upstairs of my house. And so I just hung around afterwards, and me and friends, we knew who he was. Like we recognized him because we were big Community fans. We'd also been listening to Gambino since the start. And so we were like, the dude in like African clothing and like with the super long straight hair, that weirdo over there, that's Ludwig. And so we just went up and started talking to him, and we just got quite friendly with him and ended up getting quite drunk with him, and it was really fun. And I saw him the next time, like a few months later, and he had really short hair, and I was like, what happened? And he's like, these bastards cut my hair off while we were on tour, and like he's grown it back now, but it was just weird because that's sort of his iconic look that he's got.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's got such a unique sound. He is going to be one of these guys. Like I remember first listening to Giacchino from Lost, and it's one of those things that like that's your introduction to this guy, and you know from that point it's like they're the future. They're going to be around now for the rest of time, and they are going to be doing that top tier stuff. And I feel like Ludwig he's right there. I mean, he's halfway to an EGOT, I think.
Just needs a Tony.
Yeah, he needs a Tony, and I mean, he's got his Oscar, he's got his Emmy.
I think Michael is a Tony away, and
yeah, Donald is a Tony away as well. I think
all they need to do is make like a Coco,
that's it,
Broadway play, and he's set. It's funny.
It's great.
Yeah.
It's cool. Like these people that you've watched their careers come up, and to see them succeeding, and then for everyone else to sort of almost be let in on the secret.
Yeah.
Like obviously Ludwig's been doing some big movies, and people who follow movie scores knew of him, but then I feel like Mandalorian or the Star Wars fans who might not be too versed in anything else, like they all go, "Oh, this guy's great." And I don't know anyone who's said, "Oh, the it just doesn't fit. It's not very good." Everyone hums that theme. Everyone knows that Mandalorian theme.
It's ballsy.
It is.
It's a ballsy move.
And there's a lot of electronic sounds that aren't really that commonplace in Star Wars. We talked about it in episode 2. There's a few, but like there's some sort of rock metal guitars and stuff throughout, and it's like this is really cool.
Yeah. It fits the character. It fits the story and the world they're creating. It could have gone south.
Oh yeah.
It could have really gone south, but it just goes to show you that he's got talent because it totally works. I love it. And we were talking $200 to listen to it on record, on vinyl.
Like we were talking before we started recording about like composers who their work's fine, but like it doesn't really add anything to the show. Whereas this is a score that it adds to the show so much, and you remember it. It just works really, really well. I think it is a big factor as to why the show is pretty universally loved.
Right. And even though I've given it a lot of criticisms, I still very much love it. It's very Star Warsy. I like that it's a fresh take. I think one of my issues is I never grew up a Boba Fett fan.
I wasn't either.
I thought Boba Fett was cool.
Cool design.
Dude, Bosk.
Oh, really? Okay.
I love Bosk. Bosk is my dude.
He was a cool design, but that was it. And it was like, okay. But again, we'll get into it when we do season 2 of this. But this show does so much for Boba Fett. It just does so much for all of these sort of side things.
Still waiting on Bosk. I need Bosk. Where's Bosk?
Lando, I mean, Book of Boba Fett.
Lando.
I think he'll show up in Book of Boba Fett.
He's been on Clone Wars.
He helped train Boba Fett.
Yeah, it's that small universe again.
Yeah, there's a lot of it.
So he's been around a while, and we don't know how long Trandoshans can live, what their lifespan is, but start bringing them back in. Let's bring him back in. I do like that they gave him a hissy voice. Yeah, because we only seen him hiss in the movies, and then in Clone Wars he talks about with the hiss. I don't think the Trandoshans look as traditional as I would have liked.
They don't. I think that's the same with the aliens in Sanctuary as well, because they are one of like the Jabba's guards, the skiff guards, I believe.
Right.
I can't remember. No, they're not Weequay.
No, the other one.
The other one, yeah.
Either Klaatu or Barada, one of those ones.
Yeah. It might be the Barada. That sounds familiar. Yeah. But again, they don't look quite the same. Like that's the problem that I have with that episode is it feels a bit like Stargate SG-1-y where it's just like, oh, okay, you're in this foresty world,
Is
and
it
the aliens
because-
just look very generic. Like, yeah,
I
don't know.
mean, is it the hair extensions on the dudes?
It could be. It could be.
Oh, I can't think of his name. He was in Loki. He's on Tacoma FD. I believe he was in The Good Place. Cordova.
Oh, yeah. The guy from The Good Place. As soon as you said The Good Place. Yes.
I can't think of his name.
I see. I quite like those characters. I think they're my favorite characters in that episode.
But I'm so familiar with him and other stuff.
Yeah.
To see in the hair extensions, I could see it having an SG1 quality.
I think that episode, that just in general, it's fine.
I like it. I like it. I think Bryce Dallas Howard did a good job. Her season 2 episode's phenomenal.
She steps it up in season 2. It blows Sanctuary out of the water.
And then as soon as they said John Chu left Willow because he was having a baby, so he couldn't direct Willow, I'm like, why aren't you getting Bryce Dallas Howard in there? Why isn't she?
That'd be lovely.
It makes so much sense.
Yeah. And it's just
handoff from father to daughter. Come on.
Yeah.
Also, she should do the Lando series, hand that off from father to daughter.
That'd be cool.
I'm sure she wants to be out of her father's shadow, but she seems to love him. So
yeah, and like, even in Mando, not in Lando, in Mando, she does some like nods to her dad with the Apollo 13 stuff as well. So it's like she's fine with it. She knows where she's at. And
that's
good.
So good. That episode's really good.
We'll get there.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's the thing.
I like Sanctuary though.
Yeah.
I think I like Sanctuary because it's less wandering around a desert and more, okay, we're somewhere else.
Maybe.
Also, how did none of those kids on set leak Baby Yoda?
Like, how did no one leak Baby Yoda?
Nobody.
It's amazing. Like, it's the best kept. Like, and I remember after episode 1 came out, everyone from the crew who were doing press, they were like, we fucking did it. Like, how did this not leak? Like, because there'd been talk about there being a child, and at that point everyone was like, oh, okay, cool, so they are going to do the lone wolf and cub thing, which very much is. That's what the show kind of is. Great. And I think at that point everyone was like, cool, I've got an idea of what the show is and I'm in. But yeah, the fact that it was a Baby Yoda was no one saw that. I didn't see it coming at all. I had no guesses.
As soon as you see the glimpse of the ear, and I'm like,
whoa. Yeah.
It was nuts.
So we didn't have Disney Plus when this launched in November of 2019.
Oh yeah, you guys got it late.
We got it in late, but I had a VPN set up like the week before.
Good.
Because I was like, I'd already pre-ordered my Disney Plus subscription, so I could access it, but it was just locked out regionally. So I just VPN'd and I was like, bang, I'm there. And I watched the whole thing because otherwise I was going to pirate it because I'm not going to wait. But I feel bad for everyone in this country who, like, Baby Yoda was spoiled for them.
Yeah.
Like, days later, I was just like, I can't, like, people, I want to talk to you all about this, but you're not going to go and download it. You're being very good. You don't have a VPN to be able to jump over to wherever. But yeah, I would have been gutted if I feel
bad for everybody, but I'm glad you.
Oh, I mean, there's no way I'm gonna not see these things day one.
Right. Thoughts on Baby Yoda?
I mean, he's great, isn't he? Like, like, how can you hate that guy? Like, he's amazing.
Another thing that could have went south real quick.
Oh, so easily. And that, again, making it that practical puppet was just brilliant because even when he's moving and like his little waddle that he does, like, everyone loves it and it works perfectly. Those shots of George on set visiting him and holding him,
that blurry photo,
it's fantastic. The story about Werner Herzog, because they shot everything sort of twice. They were going to be shooting everything twice, like one with the practical puppet and then one with basically a plate shot, so that they could do it digitally if they needed to. And he was like, no, don't be cowards. Like, calling them cowards for even considering it.
And if Werner Herzog is threatening to call you a coward,
you do what he says.
Not going to listen to
that
him?
Dude's scary. I wouldn't say no to Werner Herzog.
I like Baby Yoda. I mean, I don't know how they kept it a secret, because
I don't know.
I mean,
Yeah.
you just want to talk about him immediately following that first
As
episode.
soon as you see that first shot, everyone like is instantly invested, and what a way to get everyone to commit to the bit, kind of thing. Like to commit to,
Right.
I'm all in. I'm all in on protecting this kid.
Do you own anything with Baby Yoda on it?
No, I don't. I've bought things again as gifts and stuff because it's the easiest gift. Because even non-Star Wars fans love Baby Yoda.
It's crazy the amount of Baby Yoda stickers I see on cars driving around.
But it's amazing how long it took for anything official to come out. Because they kept it quiet from like, licensings. Like, even because the toys like Lego are notorious for leaking things. Hasbro have been known to in the past, like not on purpose, but these things get out. And again, you put a Baby Yoda on something, and oh my god, that's getting out there.
Right.
So like I think we all knew about Din getting his full suit of Beskar armor before.
I didn't remember it coming so quickly in the series.
Oh, it's like it is episode 3, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. See, and I remember at the time going, I thought that was going to be like he gets a new piece every couple of episodes kind of thing. It would build it up. But no, it's just like, okay, cool, right? You got your Pauldron in episode 1. Here you go.
I like the armor he has in the first couple episodes because it reminds me of a little bit of the holiday special.
Yeah,
I've seen some shots from the holiday special where kind of the cartoon kind of.
It's when he's riding the Blurg and he's got his rifle, which is again from the holiday special.
And then this picture I put in the background of the video, I had to.
The angle. It's that same shot of Boba Fett from the holiday.
It's the shot of the behind the scenes footage of the original Dewback puppet that they created on set with the stormtrooper on it as well.
Yeah,
but it's both of those things. And I just love that image. I've always loved that image of that stormtrooper on the Dewback. I don't know if there's much more I have to say. We're a little bit under an hour.
Yeah.
I mean, like I said, I like the show. It's not perfect. It's the first live action Star Wars show.
So without this show, you wouldn't have this podcast.
Right. Probably be something about the books or something. I don't know what I would have done. But
I would have finally got you to read it.
If you want to hear me talk individually, I've mentioned this before. Go to my YouTube channel, youtube.com/casinoskunk. I have an audio podcast that I put all in video files with guests like Steve Zaragoza, Eddie Pence, Michael Allred, and James Hewlett.
Hey.
Which episode did you have?
I had Ahsoka, the Jedi.
Oh,
was it the Jedi or whatever? It's the Ahsoka episode in season 2.
It's the Jedi. That I forgot that I had to shuffle my schedule.
Yeah, we got real lucky with that one.
The guest I had on wasn't as versed in the Clone Wars as you, and so that's right. Yeah, that was a fun episode.
That was fun.
So
we will talk about it again.
Yes, eventually. What are we going to be talking about next?
Well, just before we get to that, like I just want to sort of reiterate to the audience as well. Like we said it last episode, but we'll say it again here. Like when the new shows, so Book of Boba Fett, season 3 of this, Ahsoka, and everything come out, this show will be week to week when those episodes are dropping. Right. We're talking about hopefully being able to do them live so that you can be in the chat and interact with us while we're recording. They'll be they'll be more reactionary because they'll be to that episode. We will be getting to season 2 of The Mandalorian, similarly to how we've done this season, before Book of Boba Fett in December. Coming off of this, I was tempted to just drive straight into it, but I want to pass it out a little bit. I want to give it a little bit of space. So next week, we are going to be covering, get the official title of it. It's a new thing that's just come out on Disney Plus. It's the Behind the Attractions series. There is an episode of that on Star Tours. So
really,
there is a whole episode dedicated to Star Tours. So I want to talk about Star Tours.
Sounds
so
great.
next week we are going to get away from canon things again, and we're going to go do something a little bit different. We've talked about video games in the past. We've talked about movies. We've talked about all sorts of stuff. Let's talk about a ride. Let's talk.
I'm going to have to create a new category. I don't know what category to put this under.
Attractions?
Attractions, I guess.
Yeah.
All right. There's like 3 of them.
Yeah.
There might be more. I don't know. I'm excited. And then can we also talk about the show? Like, can we get like, I want to, like, I haven't seen this attraction show.
Yeah, I haven't seen any of it. I just knew that there was a Star Tours one, but I'll watch that one first. And as long as it's not awful, I'll probably watch more because like you might have some connections to some stuff in this show.
Cool. I'm excited.
Cool.
I can't wait to see. I want to watch the old Star Tours pre-show footage.
It's the only Star Tours I've ever been on.
The new Star Tours pre-show footage, I'm sure. In ride thing, talk about the legend continues. Discuss, this is gonna be fun. This is gonna be real fun.
Yeah,
you can't get any more live action than being in Star Wars.
Exactly.
So cool. Until then, visit us at Star Wars. Did it again. liveactionstarwars.com.
Yep.
Or Live Action SW. That'll take you to the site. Follow us on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook at Live Action SW, and we'll have our personal stuff at the end of the episode if you want to follow us individually.
You can find us through those as well.
There we go.
There you go. That's us.
But yeah, I'm super excited for the next episode. I cannot wait to talk about that. And until next time, may the Force be with you.
I have spoken. I have spoken.
Oh. Okay, hold on. I've spoken, and this is the way. The way that has become
a sign off. I wanted to use it for this one.
But like people saying that now, I'm like, get out of here with your new Star Wars.
Yeah, you don't count.
Yeah.
You weren't there, man. You weren't there. You didn't suffer through the 90s.
Get out of here. Right. Yeah. We had Dash Rendar.
Oh, God.